Hello and welcome back to English Idea. This is Rim Alam and I am back with a brand new video of how to speak. In this episode of how to speak, we'll be focusing on the third topic, which is time-based. In the previous episode, we have completed the first 5 questions, and in this episode, we'll be covering 5 more questions. So, question number 6 is to talk about a moment when you were in a busy environment. And question number 7 is to talk about the event when you cannot use your mobile phone. Question number 8 is to talk about an instant when you have to modify your plans due to bad weather. And question number 9 is to describe an instant in which you were late or delayed. And the final question for today's episode is where you describe a moment when you tried a new meal for the first time. So now before I move forward with my today's video, don't forget to give a like, share, comment, subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a new content. Now without further ado, let's start with our today's video. So this episode will be a bit different than the rest. As you all can see the questions here, I want everyone to give a try to answer these questions. Go ahead and read these questions and write your answers in the comment below, or you can send me a super thanks where I will be reaching out to you to set up an appointment. During this appointment you can speak to me one-to-one via Zoom call and we can discuss about your these answers, or we can also talk more about Duolingo or any other proficiency test. We can also talk about your journey to abroad, or how you can start. And take your time and read these questions, understand what they are asking, and then write your answers in the comment below. Alright, now let's move on to the first question for our today's episode, which is to talk about a moment when you were in a busy environment. The first follow-up question is, what was the location? The second follow-up question is, what brought you there? And the third follow-up question is, did you have a good time throughout your visit? As you can see, I have simply wrote the basic answers, the basic ideas. I will move on to the model answer. Remember, you can always pause or mute the video and read the model answer by yourself. I'm still going to go ahead and read it for everyone else. So the model answer is, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I was on a tour with several buddies. After a lovely breakfast in our hotel, we decided to go shopping in Chinatown, which is a pretty crowded location. Everything was reasonably priced there. My girlfriends and I had a great time exploring Chinatown. Alright, now let's move on to the second question, which is to talk about the event when you cannot use your mobile phone. So the first question is, when did it occur? The second question is, can you tell me what happened to your phone? And the third question is, how did you feel as a result of it? Again, I have just put up the basic ideas. Okay, so now let's move on to the model answer, which is, a couple of weeks ago when I was about to attend my meeting, the general manager came in and informed us that we were strictly told to keep the phone away, either on silent or turned off. I decided to put it on silent in my bag, which I did not take into the conference room. As a result, we were able to have a fairly quiet discussion without being interrupted by our phone ringing, which was a wonderful thing because the previous time we were rather disturbed by a couple of alarms and notifications. While I read the model answer, always remember to look at how I have linked each answers with each other. Okay, so now let's move on to the third question, which is to talk about an instant when you have to modify your plans due to bad weather. So the first follow-up question is, how long has this been going on? The second follow-up question is, what type of weather did you have? And the third follow-up question is, what were you doing? And the final follow-up question is, why do you have to alter your plans? So now, before I continue with my today's video, I just want to share this with everyone. This is actually like this answer from sunny to swimming is actually true in my case. I was literally having a very bright sunny day the other week, and just overnight it was heavily raining, which quickly converted to snowing. And I have come to a realization that snow is actually not as beautiful as we think. I mean, yes, it is beautiful visually, yeah, but due to snow, it is so cold right now. Thanks to snow, it is so cold. Okay, so now let's move on to the model answer, which is, it's been a week since the sun has shone and the weather has gone from bright and sunny to dark and snowy. I intended to fly to a neighboring state to visit my sister. I hadn't seen her in over a year, so I planned to spend Christmas with her. But owing to the cold and severe weather, I had to rethink my plans and stay at home. Alright, now let's move on to the fourth question, where you have to describe an instant in which you were late or delayed. The first question is, could you tell me what it was? The second question is, what action did you take? And the final question is, how did you arrive? I'm going to read the model answer now, but remember, you can always mute or pause the video and read the model answer by yourself, which will help you practice reading. It will also help you improve your accent. It will also help you build up your confidence, and it will also help you speak English better. Okay, so the model answer is, my finals were in the first week of December, and I was late for my second exam, chemistry, because my shoe snapped in the middle of the road as I was walking to campus. I had no choice but to return to my dormitory and change my shoes because I couldn't walk with a broken shoe. After arriving 35 minutes late for my exam, I summoned the guards to enter the room, explain the situation briefly, apologize, and sit for the exam. My professor was kind enough to understand and accept my apology. In fact, she asked me if I needed some extra minutes. This is somewhat true. My shoe didn't snap, but my internet was super slow and I couldn't continue giving my exam. So I was like, by the time I was reconnected to the internet, I had like 30 minutes for the exam. So I called my professor and I let her know about the situation, and she allowed me. She extended my time. While writing the answer, I was actually thinking about that time. Okay, yeah, so let's move on to the final question of our today's episode. But before I continue reading my final answers, many of my students has asked me how I get the answers, how I got like a model answer reading this question. So this one time what happened was, while taking the class, I came across a question and I asked my students to to give me the answers. And my one of my student was confused as to what would be the answer, and she asked me what I would have replied. I took about a good minute to think about it, and I gave her an answer. And then she asked me, how could I manage the answer? Did this thing really happen? How was I able to get an answer within a minute? So this is for everyone giving a proficiency exam. When you get a question like this, so let's say this never happened to you. Okay, you never really tried a new meal for the first time. You always tried something which you have been trying since forever. But you have given this question, right? And in that instant, you have only the option you have is to give an answer. You don't really have anything else to do. That's when you use your imagination. Like this question, you see? Yes, something like this has happened, but not this exact story, right? But I got this, right? Because I used my imagination. I could have said about meeting here. I could have said about, parties that I was late to. I could say anything. Maybe it never has happened to me, but I could say it because of my imagination. Imagine what would happen if you were late for a meeting. Imagine what would happen if you were late for an exam. You know what would happen, right? That's what you're going to use here. I hope you all are understanding what I'm trying to say. The summary of whatever I just explained was, always use your imagination. When you are given a question to answer, first understand the question well, and then use your imagination. You can talk about your real life experience. It's not that you cannot talk about your real life experience. Let's say once you were let's talk about this. Once you had to change your plans for the bad weather, so you can say what actually you did. You don't have to always imagine. You don't have to always make up story. You can actually say what has happened. This did happen to me, but like I said that my weather did change. I used that. I could say sunny to raining, but instead I said sunny to snowing because it has actually been happening to me. You don't always have to make up stories. You can sometimes actually use your real life experiences. There is like no rule that you cannot talk about real life experiences. Definitely be appropriate, be within the topic, but you can definitely use your real life experiences. Like this actually happened to me. Okay, I have actually I was actually in Kuala Lumpur with my girls, and I had a lovely breakfast. Then we decided to go for shopping, and Chinatown does exist. Anyone who has been to Malaysia or is in Malaysia right now or will be going to Malaysia, I'm sure y'all know Chinatown or will come across Chinatown, right? So this actually happened. I actually shared a little glimpse of my life with everyone. So y'all have two options when you are given questions. One is to use your real life experience, and another is to use your imagination. That's the summary of whatever I was just talking about. Okay, and now finally we will be reading out the final question, where you have to describe a moment when you tried a new meal for the first time. The first follow-up question is, when did you get it? The second question is, can you tell me where you ate it? The third question is, could you tell me what it was? And the final question is, how did you react to it? And the model answer is, when I relocated to Malaysia for studies in 2019, my friends brought me out to explore new and various types of food. And that's where I discovered oden, which consists of a bowl of soup, fish balls, crab meat, chicken balls, and so on. I was hesitant to try it at first because of the odor, but as soon as I took the first taste, I knew it was for me. I was blown away by how delicious it tasted. So, this is the final question for my today's episode. Don't forget to give this video a like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a new content. Go ahead and answer these questions by yourself. I've already given the model answer, but I want all of you to try it out by yourself. Use either your real life experience or your imagination, but use them and let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you want to speak to me one-to-one via Zoom call, then send me a super thanks, and I'll be reaching out to you in order to set up an appointment where we can talk anything starting from Duolingo to your journey to abroad. And that's all for today. Again, don't forget to give this video a like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a new content. Thank you.